Yeah, so my current contention is what is called the online right that never leaves their bedroom is now just Pete North. I do appreciate the focus on serious policy is needed. There's not necessarily enough of that going on in the Restore Britain car park, I do agree. But just logically, the thermotic energy is there, so if you're not going to get behind it at this point, I'm not really sure what you're doing. So reform is just a busted flush. Burnham has drunk the cup of poison in his poisoned chalice, so it's our guys or oblivion, really, if you think about things in terms of history. So you appeal to the British by talking about inheritance, don't you? So this is ours. I'm a Celt Anglo. Admix is the other way around, but this is mine. It's my country, and I intend to inherit it and pass it down. The problem is then just logically simple. We can't do that because it's been invaded. Lots of subversives got into our government and have now opened the floodgates, and now Shabana Mahmood is openly attacking us. And hoping that we're too stupid and cowardly to fight back, which is of course how Islam operates. It aggressors against you and aggressors against you. You say, no, this is revolting, go away, but at some point the aggression is too high and you have to cut them back because it's a cult. So in the modern world, we haven't got sort of tanks and guns and things sort of in a military sense sort of bumbling around Britain, because we're supposed to be a settled community. We don't need that. We're self-policing because we're a society of Christian men, so we tell the truth and police ourselves and therefore police each other, and therefore created the kind of society that we currently enjoy. But in terms of how you do this kind of stuff, it's just a physics puzzle. So if you're feeling down, maybe something is holding you down. So certainly in Birmingham, it was the gangs trying to kill me. But on a countrywide scale, I mean, you think Ed Miliband had just got his hand round our throats. So there is gold in the sea. The British adventuring spirit wants to go and get it and get ourselves out of poverty quite quickly. But to do that, we want the money from it ring fenced for the British. So in a Scrutonian sense, the people who've come here and have been smashing the place up over my lifetime and prior are now going to be leaving. They're going to be made to feel unwelcome straight firstly because we're banning things like animal torture before you kill it and eat it. In terms of halal, there's not much of an ethical consideration to allow that to go on in Britain or sell that kind of stuff. So that can go. And if you find that makes it more difficult to live in Britain, well, we don't care anymore. After all the rapes and murders, we've remembered that this is how Islam tends to operate as it comes in. Again, the individual, I'm sure, maybe a perfectly fine person, but of course as a mob it creates lots of people like that because the way it just works and the resentment and incitement to murder and rape and kill, this kind of thing. But Christianity says no, you cannot do that. As a religion it's quite firm. You don't get to go around sort of murdering people. The only way you get to use the sword to cut the head off is justice. So the king can tell us all about justice for him, his people, the people who crawled out of the dark and the mud, survived all the winters and the cold to build this place. And he can explain why he appears to be giving it all away to this sort of revolting medieval cult, which will get no respect from me. Britain needs men who are defenders of the faith. Because we couldn't defend the faith physically in Birmingham. Perhaps why I think the previous person overseeing Birmingham Council may have left. But this is the land of the Celts. It's unlikely you're going to uproot actual Christianity from the soil. Sigrid can stand in St Giles and preach the refugee gospel all she likes. But no, we're quite aware, those of us who actually read history and think about these things in a theological sense, that we're now at war. We're clearly being attacked and have been attacked all over the country by people who gained access to the country post-war, because of the documentation, the way the state now runs. We've got this absurd situation where people who are clearly not wanted and clearly highly dangerous are sort of left to claim they have some kind of right to be here. But of course, if you think that the past 200 years have been a wrinkle in time because we abandoned the faith, can't bat it back to us hard enough. I think Anglo-chauvinism, not looking at German philosophy perhaps, but we'll remediate that now. So the British will start to think about counting Christian ethics as things go south, and this will snap people back into line. So we've gone down the wrong path effectively. You can't. You can just about secularize Christianity, so you can think just in terms of logic, but you'll have no will behind you, which is the key part. If you can't go forward and you're being knocked back all the time, your logic just dissolves into mist, so you can't take action. But as soon as you have purpose, which again just slotting neatly into the time stream as people have over the millennia of Christian ethics, it's quite easy, I assure you, to get back to observable reality. G.K. Chesterton is effectively correct that by abandoning the ability to tell the truth in a forceful way, you'll just confuse yourself. So you're of no use to yourself or others around you. But there can only be one. I must say at this point, after the death of the old man. But in Birmingham, we are really looking for John Cotton and Chris Naylor and the police, because if you're encouraging an actual invasion of the country, so you can try to obtain political power, and you've got the political acumen of John Cotton, Jess Phillips, and Birmingham Labour, then it's fairly easy to make a case for certainly gross misconduct, but also treason.